And of course, same rings true for people in other professions.
Yeah.
There are plenty of burnouts, but yeah, look for something that actually, makes you, I call it listen to your own energy. So what is your energy level when you're doing something? Because that's actually how I landed in medicine, and then initially how I landed in psychiatry, and then later on in stem cells. I think each time I listen to how I'm feeling. I thought I wanted to do neuroscience because I loved the brain and understanding, why we, think the way we do and why we do things the way we do. So, but the research is one thing, it was interesting, but it's not until I went to shadow a doctor, a OBGYN doctor in New York, and just that one morning, just being in the clinic and feeling what it's like to interact with patients and utilizing technology and with the science, in my pocket, and, being able to help patients. And that just, the sense of energy, the exhilaration I felt. And same thing with psychiatry, it was so exciting. It's so interesting trying to delve into why all these pathologies occur, how a human mind could play tricks like that on you, what is going on in the mind, and how we can even break that cycle, with medications or with, other methods. So that was very exciting. And then, after a while, it wasn't bringing me joy anymore. It was the same thing over and over. It was not coming at the root cause of a lot of what's happening in mental illnesses. And then when I found out something about anti-aging medicine and stem cell therapy, then we're looking at a whole other mechanism of how to look at the human body and how our brain works. So that's a whole other, and then it was so exciting. It was so fun. It's something that makes me want to do, right? I can
Right.
spend hours reading articles and having fun. So I think that's the energy that people can listen to. What makes you feel this exhilaration
Mm.
that you're willing to put in the time without compensation?
Absolutely. And I think that's, you just nailed it, is listening to your intuition of what brings you joy and moving in that direction. And it takes time. It takes a certain amount of bravery, and it takes just being able to listen and channel that desire and hone that in. I mean, you really have to know yourself to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the people in your group, the challenges they were able to overcome and how they dealt with their burnout that you think will be really good tips for people? Like what are the wisdoms that people have collectively shared?
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And there's a whole gradient and list, but it really depends on where you are in that stage of burnout. It's a spectrum, right, of feeling that way. And I think if you're at this really overwhelming sense where, hey, you need medical help with prescriptions, and that's okay, right? And that can go into anxiety, and that can go into other areas. But I think in the beginning, when you're just starting out, you may not even know that you're feeling burnt out, right? You may not even know that you're burnt out. And then you hit this wall. And a lot of the women in the group, initially they'll say, hey, you know what? Especially with dentistry, learn a new skill, like learn something new. Maybe you need to learn Invisalign, maybe laser dentistry, maybe learn something that's going to bring you excitement and passion. Because if you're just doing fillings all day, you might be bored. You might need a new skill subset. So step number one. Step number two, if you still feel that way, is finding personal hobbies, right? We also have to get out of this zone. You are not always doctor. There's a whole nother part of you. There's a whole nother you, right? You're a doctor at work, but when you go outside, you are not just the doctor. You are, yes, doctor at work, and yes, that's who you are. But sometimes we put too much emphasis and we put too much of our identity into our work. And it's like, do you enjoy running? Do you enjoy baking? Do you enjoy singing? Do you enjoy podcasting? Find other passions outside of your work that bring you joy. Like I met this woman who's a periodontist. So what that means is a specialist is a dentist who specializes in gums and implants.
Mm.
She has a whole business on making lip balm, soap, and all like natural beauty products. And she only sources them from women-owned farmers. And she works 3 days in her practice and she does 3 days of this.
Mm.
And that she says, without that, I would be bored as a dentist. She's like, I like to have both because then when I go into my dentistry, I'm focused there for those 3 days. And then when I leave, okay, I'm going to focus on this other business. So having something else is okay. And I think that there's a misunderstanding or a fear of judgment. Oh, well, if you make lipstick or lip balm, you must not be successful, dentist.
Mm.
You know, if you have to supplement your income with something else, you must not be successful, doctor. But that is not true. That could be further from the truth. And I think that people have to stop thinking about what other people are going to think about them.